About 10 years ago, or say 15 years, I was home this very day, outside, washing some clothes. As the water ran from the pipe and I'm bending to scoop, 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 I heard a loud thrusting sound, whoosh, or boop, whichever one fits it more accurately. It's 15 years ago. But I remember it to this very day because as I stood there, I froze because I remembered my dad was in the top of that star apple tree and I was hoping he was still there. By the time I could turn around, I heard another boop. And this time, I was so panicked. I ran to the bottom of the yard where I found my dad laying on the floor with a third of the star apple tree on top of him. When I walked closer, I saw my dad's foot swinging like this. Clearly, his foot was broken. It wouldn't have been so detrimental if his entire job was not to walk and transfer his goods. I stood there as a little kid, frozen, panicked. Mentally, I'm taking my dad up, but physically, I cannot even lift his arm. So I'm literally there just looking and looking and looking. Then I saw one of my neighbors running in. He came to assist my father and brought him up to the house to put him on the veranda to sit down. He was in so much pain. I remember seeing his face looking so distressed, and I know a lot of it was the physical pain, but I could also imagine a lot of it being the mental pain because he's a business owner. And if you are new to my channel, my dad is an entrepreneur and he has been for the past 30 plus years. And his business is retail, so he buys and resells, and most of the business is done by him walking and selling to his customers. But driving, but obviously you have to deliver the goods to some places that the vehicle cannot go. But the neighbor assisted him to get to the veranda. They worked on getting him to the hospital. I was still there just looking and just not knowing what to do as a kid. He got to the hospital in Port Antonio. They transferred him to St. Anne's Bay. And he's just been in and out of the hospital trying to get, care done. They did a surgery. They put a pin in his foot. And within a couple of weeks, he was back home. And then those weeks were also brutal for me because I am now his number one home care assistant, and I could literally hear, Khrista, I can't sleep. Khrista, my foot is hurting. Khrista, fix the foot this way. And it was such a tumultuous experience for at least a couple of months. But after that, I remember seeing my dad got up one Friday morning with his crude stick, having to go back to run his business. Now, I talked about so many lessons that I've learned from my dad's experience. None of these lessons he really gave me a masterclass on. He only gave me one tip, and that tip was always, if you want to do entrepreneurship, have your stable job and do it on the side, right? But everything else that I've picked up on was just me watching closer to his journey and just seeing what he's doing. This one lesson, though, that I picked up on in that moment was that I never wanted any business that was just completely reliant on me only. And my dad had assistance and he had help and support in the business. He wouldn't have to go back to working before his foot was completely healed. He was in so much pain and he was walking with a crutch stick and the wheelchair. My brother was pushing him so that he could get around. And I wanted to do something, but what could I really do? As you may have known or may not, so I'm going to talk about it anyway. My first business experience, Amon Bookkeeping, was birthed through my dad's experience. I saw him just having highs and lows in the business, and I wanted to help the business to thrive, but I wanted to understand the numbers. I wanted to understand the business from the inside out because there were just a lot of financial mishaps that were happening. And I'm thinking, if he is having these problems, there's so much other entrepreneurs who just don't understand how to manage their finances in the business. Yes, they see that they're making money, but they're not keeping proper records, which means they're not seeing the wastage, they're not seeing the areas that they can improve, they're not seeing the areas that are doing great, what to double down on, and also they're not having these financial records to guide their decisions. Maybe they're just tracking the expenses, but they're not using it as decision making tools. Also, they're not really having these financial statements and documents that they can use to get investors in the business or to get loans or to get the things that they really need because they don't really know exactly how to have it go about. And also, many people were doing it, but they didn't have time to do anything else. So it was just like, I'm doing this, but I could literally be spending time doing anything else. And what my ultimate goal with starting AMO Bookkeeping was to help business owners to understand their numbers and to thrive and grow their business and live happily ever after. But of course, it didn't work out in that exact order. And I made a video talking about my business experiences and why they didn't work out the way that I wanted it to. This AMO Bookkeeping, formally and informally, another coconut oil business that I was doing. And after leaving AMO Bookkeeping, after being in it for 3 years, and just having life happened, I've always sat with the question like, what would I even do to help entrepreneurs like my dad, who is a solopreneur and barely has time to put his hat on right? How can I support them in a way that's really meaningful? I mean, yes, bookkeeping is meaningful, and I will always be on that hill because I know the importance of having proper records of your business. It does a lot, it gives you a lot of clarity. Just so like I've found clarity in my own personal finances, that is kind of what it does to the business. So it's definitely important. But it's also like, what I've noticed is that many business owners, they may want somebody to come in and help them with the bookkeeping, but they also needed somebody to help them with the admin. They also need somebody to help with social media, and they don't want to hire one person for each. And so I just really thought about how I could best support that business owner, and that's how I've just decided to start offering virtual business solution support. And I'm saying this here first because you are my family. I've already put this out to a few of my people in my circle and to inform them that I'm offering these services. And so it can be of a really valuable assistance to that person who is running around like a loose chicken. So what am I offering? And so I talked about weeks for, but what am I actually offering? Okay. So a lot of business owners, and I don't know if you fall into this category, and if you're not a business owner, don't skip off the video. Please listen to the end as well and share this with a business owner that it could benefit, right? A lot of business owners are spending so much time working in the business and not on the business. This is something that I saw in my dad's business as well, because he is the only person there. So he's working around to sell, and then he's also tracking off inventory, and then he's also like trying to see if he made a profit and all of those things. And it's so much to keep up with, and you literally miss steps when you are trying to do everything by yourself. Of course, in this day and age where we have AI and you have AI managing a lot of things, it's a lot easier to run a business as a one person show now. But easier does not necessarily mean that it's best for you, because a lot of people don't even understand AI. And as it's reveling out a lot more, people are getting in tuned. And I use AI a lot in many of the things that I do. So it's definitely helpful, and it's clearly where the world is heading. So learning it is always going to be beneficial to you. But it's also like there's still so much overwhelm from trying to figure out everything. So if you want to get back some of your time so that you can actually focus on getting clients for the business, so that you can focus on growing the business, you can focus on readjusting or revisiting your strategy, your mission, your vision to see if the business is going in the direction that you want it to go, if it still aligns with you and where you're trying to go for your life, and you don't want to be in the ins and outs of every single thing, then this solution is perfect for you, right? Whether it's administrative support, following up with clients who need to pay you back, you're calling them nonstop to get them to pay a balance that they owe you, or if it's email management, calendar management, like whatever administrative support looks like for you, this is something that I offer in this solution. It could also be bookkeeping, but you want bookkeeping with admin support. This is something that you can get also. And basic social media management. You are so busy trying to get everything done. You don't have time to post on your social media. You don't have time to get to your comments and get to your potential customers. This is something that I can also offer too. It's basically to give you back some time so that you can focus on what matters and get that what actually needs your attention. You know, it's also like, just as all people say, if it's not on your calendar, it's not happening. Like, instead of spending so much time trying to sort through everything to see what needs to go on your calendar, I do that for you. You can just look on your calendar, you can just see what you need to get to and leave the rest to me, right? Because I know that it's so important to have support and have somebody walking alongside you in your business that has your best interest at heart and your business best interest at heart, you know. And seeing my dad firsthand just going through this experience by himself, I just know that for me, if I was able to help him, that's when I started bookkeeping. That was my way of trying to help, you know. And if even as a little kid, I always had it that I wanted to support businesses because I see how much challenges it is to actually run the show every single day. Like, I've been around entrepreneurship my entire life, and I've dipped into it myself within the past 5 years, and I definitely see that my experience in it is definitely not even like my dad's. Like, I cannot even imagine, and he's been doing this for so long, and he's so energized and so pumped and still, you know, doing so well in his resilience and, you know, always showing up, seeing the ebbs and the flows, the highs and the lows. When you know that this is your source of income and this is how you eat, and you have your family depending on you, if you are taking care of your parents, if you are taking care of your siblings, whomever it is, you know that your work is what pays them. You literally have to show up for your business. And you hold it so close to you because you don't want people to come in and mess up your artwork. You don't want people to come in and spoil what you've been building for such a long time. I get it, right? So sometimes you don't want help to come in because you don't want to have to deal with managing that, dealing with people and so forth. And this is one of the things where I can see my strength as a self-starter coming in, because I don't really like to work with micromanaging. So I don't require micromanaging, period. And I kind of don't like to work with anybody that is too micromanaging, just because it kind of stifles the work and it shows a lack of trust. But it's also like, you need to, as a business owner, you definitely have to trust somebody to allow them to run your business. So I kind of get it in the twofold. But yeah, I thought this could definitely be the way that I re-enter entrepreneurship, because I just really see a need for having supporting business owners who are literally doing what they enjoy and having their freedom, having their time back to relax and to live the life that they desire and show your family that is possible, and yourself most importantly. So if you are overwhelmed by just the day-to-day task, recurring business tasks that you need support with, these services that I'm offering are definitely for you. So you can drop me a comment, or you can send me a DM on any social media platform, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, and I will definitely be open to having a conversation to see what's taking up the most time in your business. I don't have a website yet. I am literally just rolling this out real time. I literally sent this to a couple of my friends, and they were asking me like, you know, do you have a flyer or something like that? So I'm going to be working on a flyer to send out and promoting on my social media platforms as well. So I'm excited about it in a way, because I feel like this version of me is a lot more content. I don't know if content is the right word, but when I just started entrepreneurship, and even when I just started, when I moved back to Jamaica, I was kind of in a rush to just get everything right away. And it mostly was because I didn't have the financial stability for myself. And now I'm doing this from a place where I feel like I have way more stability, way more focus, and way more options. So it's like I'm not doing it from a place of desperation. I'm doing it from a place of, oh, this is actually how I can support you. This is how actually I can show up. This is actually how I can provide value and help you to get to your destination. So I feel a lot more aligned with it and more relaxed about it. So yeah, if this sounds interesting, you can share this with any entrepreneur or business owner that you know, so that they can get some of their time back. Right? Please give the video a thumbs up so you can reach more people. Comment below. If you're a business owner, comment below what's taking up the most time in your business. And if you are not, but you're thinking about starting a business, let me know, what do you think you would need support with. Either way, I'd love to know in the chat. All right, and share the video with anybody that could benefit. Follow me on all social media platforms at Khrista-Lee Amore. That's Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. And subscribe if you have not yet subscribed. Also, if you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm Khrista-Lee Amore, and I talk all things investing in you. And thank you so much for watching if you are my loyal subscriber. All right, I'll see you in my next video tomorrow. Until then, let's go make some mistakes. Bye.